646, and hey, same-sex marriage, it's now legal all over the country, including here in Michigan. The ban overturned last week. But one thing that may lead to, and probably will in some cases, is a same-sex divorce. Are these couples ready? Let's talk to Tim Hoch. He's a family law expert and attorney who deals with divorce himself. HochLawFirm.com is the website. Tim, great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Michael. Great to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in many cases these couples have been together for many years, and they finally, they get a chance to get married, and they do. Do you think in general that's a safe time to just jump in if you've been with someone for so many years and now the gates are open?
Well, it's interesting that you ask it that way because I think there's a certain euphoria affiliated with this, right? I mean, they finally have the right to marry, and they finally can open the floodgates. Yeah. And I think it's a little bit. I would caution people to be a little hesitant about that because marriage is a different institution than just living with somebody, and there are a lot of legal entanglements that accompany the actual matrimonial decree. So,
do you think any of these couples should get a prenup just to get one?
I always think couples should get a prenup. So I've got a little different view on that, especially when I see I always see the back end of it, and I see the tail end of it, and there are always disagreements, no matter how much you think it's going to be amicable. The famous last words we always hear are, "Oh, my husband and I are getting a divorce," or "My wife and I are getting a divorce, and it's going to be amicable." No, well, it never is.
Is that a difficult process, though, to set up a prenup? Is it expensive to do all that? Or?
Not really. It's really not. I mean, it's kind of like going in and having a will, which everyone should do as well. It's basically just an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
So you can come in and just say, hey, I want to keep my stuff, they keep their stuff, let's sign this, and you're done?
Yeah, and you can designate certain things like and most of it has to do with maybe personal effects. And we talked the other day about maybe pets. What are you going to do with pets in the event of divorce? What do you do with a retirement account?
Right.
How do you split certain inheritances and things like that?
Yeah. Now, what do you expect? I mean, if we see the sudden burst of marriages now, do you expect we'll see a burst of divorces 3 to 5 years down the road?
I think there will be a certain spike in it. I think that folks will get so caught up in the moment they may rush in and get married before they are necessarily ready to do so. And I think but then I think it'll level off and sort of mirror the general population as a whole, 50% divorce rate.
Anything about a same-sex couple that would be different, do you think, than a heterosexual couple getting married? Any issues they might bump into?
Well, the only issue that I can anticipate that might be dicey and difficult to navigate would be the child custody issues. That's going to be an interesting way. I just don't know that the courts are really equipped to deal with those right now. I think
if you have a case with two mothers, right, and one is the birth mother, does that complicate in terms of who exactly has should have custody at that point?
It really is, and they say, look, we don't really prefer. Judges say, look, we don't prefer one spouse over the other in terms of custodial arrangements, but they do. I mean, as a practical matter, almost 90% of the time, it's going to be the birth mom, right? But in this particular circumstance, what if it's an adopted child, right? And then you start looking at who's the primary caregiver? There's a lot more dicey issues with that, I think.
Yeah. Have you heard from any same-sex couples at this point? Or?
Well, I've represented same-sex couples before the law was instituted. In other words, I had a couple that came down from Vermont where it was legal to Texas where it was not, and we didn't have any way to we weren't equipped to handle their divorce. And then I had a couple that had been together for years and years and were common law married, and again, we didn't have any mechanism by which we could handle their divorce, and so we treated it as a partner dissolution. So we, just like you would if you'd gone into business, a general partnership with somebody. And that's not really an appropriate way to handle it.
So it's not a divorce, you say? It's a partner dissolution? Is that what it was?
That's how we handled it whenever the law was that you couldn't recognize a same-sex marriage in Texas. So we treated it as a partnership, and that's sort of an ill-mannered way to handle it.
If somebody wants to get married in a week, is that enough time to kind of iron out a prenup and get things in line and just jump in?
You can do that. Now, there's a waiting period here, 72 hours. But, yeah, you could do that. But It'd be tough to do that in a week.
Yeah.
I mean, I caution people to do it for, give yourself 30 days at least.
How long should you know somebody before you marry them, Tim?
Man, I am staying out of that. I know people that have come into my office that are happily married and who have been married within 6 months, and I know people who have, been married. My wife and I dated for 9 years, and we've been together for over 20. So
that's a good rule. 9 years, you say? Is that the line? Just to make sure, right? I mean, you never know.
Yeah, just exactly, just to make sure. So quote me on that, will you, please?
Yeah, you got to see what they're like under stress. I think that's part of it.
That's very important, yeah.
Tim Hoch, family law expert, attorney, hochlawfirm.com. Tim, thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Have a great day.